All right then. So now let's understand how the data types and the variables works in Java. So in Java, every variable and constant has a data type. A data type specifies the size and type of the values that can be stored in a variable. So Java has two categories of data types, which is primitive data types and reference data types, right? So let me open up node.txt file, right? So here you should understand, you have to keep it in mind, Java has two types, which is one, the primitive data type, and another one is the reference data type, right? So let's talk about the primitive data type. It's just like the basically primitive data types or the default data types are just like the built-in data types, right? Like whenever you're purchasing a new mobile phone, we do have some built-in mobile apps in our mobiles, right? Just like that. So basically Java provides you 8 primitive data types, so which is comes under the categories like integer, and under the integer you have certain things, and you should have the decimal numbers, and of course you have the characters, right? So if we are talking about the integers, they are nothing but the whole number from negative to positive, all the whole numbers. So they are categories like byte, which is an 8-bit signed integers, 8-bit signed. And if you're talking about short, they are 16-bit signed integer. And if you're talking about int, they are 32-bit signed integer. And if you're talking about long, they are 64-bit signed integers. So basically these are the different keywords defined on the requirements of the user. So these are the memory units and memory sizes of those specific keywords: byte, short, int, long, right? If you're defining it as an integer, int, that means it's a 32-bit long, 32-bit signed integer, right? Then if you're talking about the decimal numbers, which is nothing but the float, right? So okay, so basically the float is the 32-bit float, 32-bit float point number, which is nothing but the decimal number. And we do have the double, which is nothing but 64-bit size, right? And character, of course, the characters is nothing but char. We need to use this char. Char is nothing but the 16-bit Unicode, 16-bit Unicode character, like a single character, right? And of course, we do have this boolean data type is also, that is nothing but true and false. That's it, right? These are all the primitive data types. All right. So these are all the primitive data types. So now let's talk about how to declare and initialize these variables, right? So basically data types and the variables should work together, right? If you want to access some data, you need to name them first. So if you can't, the reason why we are naming them is because to access them and to retrieve them whenever it's needed. That's the reason we need the variables and the data types. So basically we collect the data from the user and we give a name to it, and we store it inside the address table of the RAM, which is the heap memory, which basically has the address table, which stores the variables and data by naming them. So the naming the data, its reason is because for our purpose to access it whenever it's needed, right? For instance, we know that age, right? Age, it should be a number, right? So basically we read a number and we store it in the variable name of age. So whenever I need the age of that particular user, I can access that variable age. So that is going to return the value of that specific age, right? So let's go ahead and now let's talk about how to define a variable. So declaring the variables, right? Basically declaring the variables means creating a variable. So if you want to define a variable or declare a variable, all you have to do is to specify the data type of that specific variable name. Like for instance, let's say if you wish to create a name in age, all I have to say int age, which is basically going to store a number into it, a 32-bit number into that very specific variable name. And if I wish to assign a value to it, all I have to say age equals to 24 or 25, something like that. So now we know that age is a variable which carries a value of a number which is 25. So whenever inside the program, if I access it, I can able to retrieve the value is as a 25. So let's check it out over here. So all I have to do is to delete this, and I'm just going to say int age. So age is a variable, and I'm just going to assign the value as 24. Then let's say I'm just going to say system.out.print. Okay, and here I'm just going to get the string, and I'm just going to say your age basically, and I need to print that age right after here. So I'm just going to add comma, then I need to supply the age over here, right? So it should not be a comma, it should be a plus sign. So basically plus is the operator which helps you to join the strings, or if you wish to join anything with that particular string, right? That's the plus operator. Plus operator will help you to join something together, right? So now let me save this. So every time whenever you make some changes, but first what you need to do, you need to compile the program. So all I have to say java c hello.java, enter. Then all you have to say java hello dot, so you don't have to type java hello dot class, just type the main class name, that's it enough. Okay, so we are getting an error over here. What is that error? Could not find or load class name called hello. What is this? How come? We have the class over there. So let me delete this for the time being. And let's say java c hello.java. So now it's generated. Then java hello again. I was wondering why it's happening. All right, so for some reason it is not running the program from the basics directory itself. It's asking us to come outside of the basics directory. Then if I run the command java basics.hello, it is working. See, I'm not sure why it is happening, but see, if I get into the java basics folder, right now I'm inside the folder, and now from here if I am compiling the java hello, that it's giving me an error. I'm not sure why it is happening, but it is working. If you come outside of the folder and just say your folder name and hello and hit the enter, that is working. I think the reason is because of this cd basics java hello. Nope, that's not the reason, because we need to define the package over here, otherwise we will run into an issue. All right, so now we know that it's working. Okay, so to avoid the conflicts, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy everything, and I'm going to basically delete this folder completely, and here I'm going to create a new file called hello.java and run the program. So now it's automatically created the class name, so I'm just going to keep it like this. Okay, now let me get back to the our main folder. Let me delete this and let me create a new terminal over here. Here we go, and let's say java c java c hello.java. There we go. Now you can see we have the class file, and right now if you wish to keep all those class names in a specific folder, it's a better way to compile this in this, because you can see it's keeping the java and its class name in the same directory. That could be a conflict, right? So the reason why we need to, I don't need the class name over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say java c, I'm going to create a new directory in the current folder dot, I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm just going to compile this for compile the folder, compile the file name hello.java. I hit the enter, and okay, so I forgot to give the folder name, that's the reason. Okay, so my bad, it's my mistake. All we have to do is to java c hyphen d. You need to give the specific folder name. For instance, since we are practicing the basics, I'm just going to keep it as a basics as a folder name. Then I'm going to push the class file which is going to be generated. That class file should be generated inside this specific directory. So if you hit the enter, that is going to create a new folder called basics, and inside the basics you might have this class. Okay, so then if you wish to run that file, all I have to say java basics.hello. That's a file. So hit the enter. Come on, cd basics java hello. There we go. So now it's working, right? So this is how you need to run your file. So if you're trying to access it through basics.hello, it's not working. So I'm not sure why it is happening through the Visual Studio Code, but if you're using the IntelliJ, it might work properly, right? But this is the proper way to work with your Java files. So you need to keep your Java file separately, and you need to keep your class file separately, because we don't want to keep the source and the class files both in the same directory. That's the reason. All right.